Hello, welcome back to Dark Witness from the Most Dangerous podcast. I hope you're enjoying it. Thanks to everyone that's joined up this week. If you haven't, you're listening, please click subscribe on Spotify or follow us on YouTube. It all helps. Thanks, Nicola, for your lovely message. Give shout outs and everything. So anyway, we're going to get started. I've got a couple of spooky tales. We've got quite a horrific one, actually, quite a famous story that I've gone for, and we've got an alien one. I like an alien story. First of all, let's start. It's the flames of Rouen. In the early 15th century, Europe was a place gripped by fear. War, plague, famine, and superstition ruled daily life. God was everywhere, in law, in medicine, and in punishment. And to question authority was to question heaven itself. Women had no voice, peasants had no power, and anyone who claimed to hear voices was either a prophet or a heretic. Joan of Arc was both. To the French, she was a miracle, a teenage girl who claimed divine guidance, led armies, and helped turn the tide of the 100 Years' War. To the English and their allies, she was something far more dangerous, a symbol that could not be allowed to survive. Her trial was a performance, the verdict decided long before the first question was asked. Church officials, lawyers, soldiers, all assembled, not to seek the truth, but to erase it. On the 30th of May, 1431, in the marketplace of Rouen, that decision was carried out in public. This is not Joan of Arc's story. It's the account of a man who stood close enough to feel the heat when history burned. I was not a brave man, I tell you that first because it matters. I was a clerk in Rouen, employed by the English administration. My life was ink, parchment, and obedience. I recorded proceedings, I copied verdicts, I did not question them. Men who asked questions did not last long in those days. When my name appeared in the list of official witnesses to the execution, I considered pretending to be ill. I considered running, but both would have drawn attention. Attention was dangerous. The square was already packed when I arrived. Market stalls had been cleared to make room for the pyre. But people filled every available space. Some stood on barrels and carts. Some brought children, lifting them onto shoulders so they could see. It sickened me how festive it felt. The pyre itself was enormous, deliberately so, taller than a man, packed tight with timber and straw. I remember noticing how fresh the wood looked, how the sap still bled from the split logs. The smell was almost pleasant. Then they brought her out. Joan of Arc looked nothing like the stories, no shining armour, no fire in her eyes, just a thin, exhausted girl in a long dress. Chains hanging from her wrists. Her hair had been hacked short, uneven, as if even that small dignity had been taken from her. She did not struggle. When they tied her to the post, she asked for a cross. There wasn't one. Someone laughed. A soldier snapped 2 sticks and bound them together with twine. She took it with shaking hands and pressed it to her lips like it was sacred. Not dramatically, not defiantly, like a child trying to be brave. When the fire was lit, it did not consume her all at once. It climbed. Smoke rolled upwards, thick and black, stinging the eyes. The crowd stepped back as the heat intensified. She screamed when the fire reached her legs, a sound that cut through the square and turned my stomach to water. The smell came next, burning hair, cloth, flesh. It clung to the air, heavy and sweet, and impossible to escape. People gagged, some laughed nervously. I saw a woman faint. Joan's screams changed, grew hoarse, broke apart. She cried out the name of Jesus again and again until it no longer sounded like a word, and then she went quiet. But the executioner did not stop. He stoked the fire higher. They'd been instructed to leave no doubt, no relic, no body to worship. When it was finally over, There was nothing left but charred remains slumped against the post. The executioner collapsed to his knees, sobbing openly. "I feel I have burnt a saint," he cried. That night, sleep would not come. Every time I closed my eyes, I smelled smoke, felt heat on my face, and I saw her standing in the flames, untouched, staring directly at me. She did not accuse me. That was worse. I left Rouen within days. I have lived a long life since. But even now, when I smell wood smoke, I hear her voice. Not screaming, not praying, just asking a single question I have never been able to answer. Why did you watch? So that was Joan of Arc, a story I didn't actually really know. I mean, I knew of her and I knew a bit of her story, but God, to be burnt alive, fuck, it's got to be one of the worst, particularly outside in the open, because you really would be burnt. I know that when you get a lot of people that die in house fires, they tend to succumb to the smoke before the fire really gets them. But God, outside in the wind would have really properly burnt you. Shit, that's bad. And she was 19. It's mad. I think when we don't realize a lot of these famous figures from back in the sort of 14th, 15th, 16th century, they lived a life by the time they were 19. But you look at 19-year-olds now, they're just still like kids. And imagine being taken to the stake to be burnt alive. It's a horrible story. So that was story one, Joan of Arc. So our second story is called The Visitors at Coldwater Ridge. As I told you, it was a bit of an alien story. I like to get the odd alien one in from time to time. By the late 20th century, we told ourselves we were past superstition. Satellites filled the sky. Science explained the dark. The unknown was shrinking, neatly boxed and labelled. UFO sightings were jokes. Abduction stories were punchlines. And yet, throughout the 1990s, rural America was plagued by quiet, consistent reports. Missing time, strange lights, physical marks, identical nightmares shared by people who'd never met. Most were dismissed. Some were quietly filed away. Coldwater Ridge, Oregon, became one of those places that locals avoided without ever quite agreeing why. This is the statement of a man who drove that road every night until one night changed everything. Coldwater Ridge isn't even on most maps. It's just a stretch of gravel road cutting through pine forest. No houses, no lights, no reason to stop. I worked late shifts at the mill and drove it home every night. I knew every bend and every pothole. That night felt wrong before anything happened. The radio crackled, then fell into heavy static. I reached just to adjust it when the lights appeared. 3 perfect circles hovering above the trees ahead. Too bright, too still. They weren't aircraft. My engine died without warning. The dashboard went black, the forest went silent. No insects, no wind, nothing. The kind of silence that makes your ears ring. I tried to move, but I couldn't. My eyes were open. My heart was racing so hard it hurt, but my body wouldn't respond. I couldn't even blink. The lights descended slowly, deliberately. I don't remember leaving the truck. I remember standing somewhere cold. The floor beneath me was smooth, metallic, gently curved. The air smelled sterile, like antiseptic and burnt wires. There were no corners, no shadows. They emerged from the light. Tall, thin, skin stretched over tight, narrow frames. Heads too large, eyes completely black. Not reflective, absorbing. They did not speak. They didn't need to. Pain exploded through me. Not sharp, but total. Like every nerve being examined at once. Images flooded my mind that weren't mine. Unfamiliar landscapes, skies the wrong colour. Shapes moving beneath translucent skin. I felt peeled open. One of them leaned close. Something pressed into my thoughts, calm and cold. You are fragile. You are temporary. You are remembered. The darkness. I woke in my truck, engine running, radio playing. An hour gone. At home, I found 3 small scars on my leg, arranged in a perfect triangle. They never healed properly. But the worst came later. The dreams. Rooms with no doors. Tables that tilt. Hands that restrain without touching. And sometimes I wake with the certainty that I'm being watched. Because some nights, just before sleep takes me, I see 3 lights reflected in my bedroom window. And I know, with the certainty that terrifies me, that they know exactly where I am. So people say nothing happened on Coldwater Ridge. There was no evidence, no proof. Whatever took that hour from that man, he never forgot. I don't think he ever will. So another alien abduction story. They're all a little bit. We've discussed this with James on the podcast before. There's 100% chance, 100% chance there's other planets or life out there. I can't remember the maths, but it's like in the Milky Way, it's like 1 billion planets that's like ours. And the Milky Way is one of 1 billion galaxies in the next fucking thing that goes up, and then there's like 1 trillion of them. It's like we can't even comprehend what's out there. So there must be, but with the technology we've got on our planet, like the moon's a massive journey, massive journey. The International Space Station's on like 1% of the way to the moon, and that's just the moon. So the thing that I wonder, the thing that I wonder about alien life is, we're a particularly young planet, I think, so they'd have to be from an older planet that's really evolved and developed fast, where they've developed technology we haven't. We don't know realistically. I mean, we talk about all the elements that are out there. That's only the elements we know of on Earth. Could there be other elements out there on other planets? The periodic table, is that, how do we know there's not planets out there made of elements we've never even seen, touched, felt, seen, smelt? So maybe there could be rocket fuel and ways of travel that's faster than we can ever imagine, and aliens have been here. Do I really believe they have? Yeah, maybe. I don't think they take people up to spaceships and put things in their bums and stuff like that. I think that I just have a feeling that something in that the Roswell story, I feel like there's something in that. Could be, it might not have been an alien, just an old bit of space junk from another planet that's just crash landed on Earth. I don't know. But I'm not one that believes that there's nothing out there, because it's impossible. There must be stuff out there. So yeah, just to confuse you all, that's my thoughts on it. So that was Dark Witness. That was Stories 5. This is episode 5 already. Wow. Like I said, I hope you're enjoying it. The best thing you can do is, if you're listening to this on Spotify now, is click the subscribe button. Doesn't do you any harm, doesn't cost you any money. And if you are subscribed, make yourself an auto downloader. That's good, because that means you get the episode. And if you're out and about and you've got no internet, you can listen to me, maybe if you're at the gym or something. And particularly things like YouTube, go and subscribe. Even if you subscribe to us on Spotify, just go and give us a subscribe on YouTube. All helps. Like I said, costs you nothing. And comments, if you've got any stories you'd like me to do, like a witness account of, do you want a witness account of anything? Give me a wee idea. I've got plenty, so don't worry, I won't run out. Thanks very much. Thanks for listening. Take care. I'll see you soon.